okay.
So you have to send me a copy of it, okay, Geeta ji?
हाँ जी बिल्कुल.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
So everybody, welcome to our Saturday Vedic Study Circle. And as I said, Dr. Gandhi needs no introduction. I would just pass it on to him to start the session. Dr. Gandhi, over to you.
Thank you, Ji. Geeta ji, can you give me next slide?
जी.
So, you know, what is the good life? So let's see. So a lot of things have come when the positive psychology came into existence, because until 2000, psychologists were trying to take care of anxiety and depression and difficulty to get to a normal life. They never talked anything to make you happy. They stop, you know, if you have anxiety or depression, they try to take away anxiety and depression. But they never told us how to be happy. So this Dr. Seligman, along with Chicks and Mihai and few other people, felt that psychology should be to improve our lives, just not take away the miseries, but create a happy life. So this movement in this country started around 2000. So this only about 21 to 22 years old, this positive psychology. So University of Pennsylvania was the one which started the course called Applied Psychology. They would now advertise, you know, they get application for 100 people who want to join the course, and they accept only 1% a year. So this positive psychology has changed a lot of things in this country. So positive psychology is a newer branch, you know. And so next slide, please. So one of the important things in this to understand what is happiness. So happiness has two different ways to look at it. Hedonic happiness. That means that we work very hard, we succeed in life, we have a lot of money, we can take vacations, we can do whatever we like, you know, in our life, especially related to wealth. So psychologists conceive this happiness is called hedonic happiness. That means it's like a treadmill. You're still running to look for pleasure and enjoyment. And then the other kind of happiness called eudaimonic happiness. This happiness is when you have meaning in life. That means you already have dreamed to do something big, to help other people, to change the world, change everybody's life. And then what is our purpose in life? Why we are here? So those things are explained by eudaimonic happiness. So I think in one of the talks I gave at your place mentioned that people who do spend a lot of time in helping others and doing things to change this world rather than limiting themselves, they are not only healthier, even their blood work is better, like inflammatory levels in the bodies are much less compared to people who are just having a hedonic happiness. So this reflects us to look at Ralph Waldo Emerson. They call it transcendentalists. These people are the people who studied Eastern philosophy, Bhagavad Gita, and Upanishads. And maybe they also study Buddhism. So they have got this idea from us, from India, that it is one of the most beautiful compensation of life that no man can sincerely try to help another without helping himself. This is a very important thing, that, you help somebody else without think of getting anything back. But what you get is undescribable, because that's the only way you can get this happiness. Next slide. So Seligman wrote a book called Authentic Happiness. I read that book about maybe 15 or 18 years ago. This book, shows that a lot of professions, like the lawyers, they make a lot of money. They have every successful things in life, but they have the highest divorce rate and highest suicide rates. So he was, concluding, and then he created a website. If you go to a website called Authentic Happiness, you can analyze how your happiness in your life is. Nowadays, somebody recommend that website has analyze you, what kind of person you are. So they even suggest that people who are going to get married, they should let the future spouse go through this website to evaluate yourself, what kind of person you are. It's a very interesting finding. So this is Seligman initial studies show that you have three important things to give you happiness. One is a pleasant life. Pleasant life means that you make money, adequate money, you can take vacation, you have a house, you have a car, you have all the things pleasant in life. Then you have good life and meaningful life. So what are the different? Pleasant life is real life if we learn to savor and appreciate basic pleasures like companionship, natural environment, and body needs. We can remain pleasantly stuck at this stage, or we can go on to experience the good life, which is achieved through discovering our unique virtues and strength and employing them creatively to enhance our life. That means that we are engaging in something. It's like when you're watching a tennis game, you get some enjoyment. But when you play tennis yourself, you get more enjoyment. Next slide. What is meaningful life? Meaningful life means that one of the best way of discovering this value is by nourishing our unique strength in contributing to the happiness of our fellow humans. Consequently, the final stage is meaningful life, in which we find a deep sense of fulfillment by employing our unique strengths for a purpose greater than ourselves. So he described an experiment that he did. Dr. Seligman in his class one day told everybody that this afternoon we're going to be all free. Let's go and all watch a movie. All his students went to watch a movie. And then they asked, what they like, did they have enjoyment and all 1 to 5. Some say that they enjoy the 2 or 3 or something like that. Then next week, he told everybody that we're going to go and take some toys and some, playful things to a place where a lot of children didn't have those things, poor children. And we'll spend one afternoon there. So they all went there helping children, giving them presents and all. And they came back. They have to write how they were happy. 1 to 5. A lot of people have happiness up to 5.
Oh.
Then about 6 months later, one day, in the class you asked, can you tell me what happened when we went 6 months ago to see a movie and all? Most people didn't remember anything and they couldn't say much about it, Then he asks, what about the time that we went to help the poor children? Children who didn't have toys and playthings. What do you think? Oh yeah, that was the greatest thing they remember in life. So it's really tell us that, when you do something good for others, you have such a pleasure that it lasts much, much longer than what you just do for yourself for a satisfaction in life. So after this thing, then he realized that these 3 things, what he talked about, happy life, pleasant life, good life, and meaningful life, he said something is missing. So he created a course where he invited the top psychologists in the country, happiness people, and positive psychology, other professors, and created a course which was called the Applied Psychology course. In that, he added 2 things to these 2 things to these 3 things that he talked about. And these 2 things were one of having a good relation in the family and friends. That means that you have a great pleasure, from your family getting together and doing something for each other. To some good friends that you can call at 3 o'clock in the morning for something that you really want to talk to them. So he concludes that you don't need hundreds of people to know, but you need to have very good friends that you call them anytime you want, and a good relation. Then the 5th thing, he came with that we all wanted to achieve. How do we achieve things in life? So initially it was 3 things, and then he added 2 more things. And this became a course in a book called Flourish. That book is used in training of the US Armed Forces. After the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, they find out the army noticed that Washington, D.C. was full of homeless veterans. Many of them have committed suicides, and they used this Dr. Seligman teaching to create a course for resilience. So I happened to take this course to, teach the law enforcement officers to have resilience, to understand how to live a good life. Next slide.
Very nice.
So we look back our own teachings. We always in the Sandhya say that He Ishwar Dayanidhi Bhavat Kripyanena Japopasanadi Karmanam Dharm Artha Kama Mokshanam Sadhya Sadir Bhavena. Next slide. So in our teachings, first important thing is dharma, to act virtuously and righteously, morally and ethically. Second is artha, which refers to pursuit of wealth and prosperity in one life within the bounds of dharma while pursuing this wealth and prosperity. Next slide. Third purpose of our life is the kama, mean that you have all the enjoyment from life. Fourth and final meaning of life is moksha and enlightenment. Next slide. So this our basic teaching. Then also we also learn that qualities of the wall identify in three basic gunas: tamas, rajas, and sattva. How do we gain that? When you have tamas, that means the inertia, you are not really able to make good decisions and take part in life. Rajas means when you're very active. Transcendent is called sattva. So this is a state of real happiness, why you are following the dharma and do the right thing and has been very balanced in your life. Even when you eat the food, you eat the sattvic food. You speak the truth and you live a meaningful life. Next slide. So in the study of this positive psychology, this gentleman called Csikszentmihalyi is a very famous person. He wrote a book called Flow. And this Csikszentmihalyi just passed away a couple of weeks ago. I read his obituary. And he spent his life studying what make people function much better. Let me give you an example. You know, I practiced surgery for 40 years. And sometimes I have a very challenging surgery to do. And when I did this surgery very carefully, and the patient did very well, I had such a satisfaction. It's called the, state of flow. State of flow means that you are doing something which is challenging, but you are able to do it, putting all of your mind into it. You don't even aware of how much time it's taking place. You're not aware when anybody else is talking or not. You are totally absorbed in what you do. This is what, Seligman said about the engagement. Next slide. So to get this flow in your life, engagement, you need to have concentration and focus attention, because this is intrinsically rewarding. You don't even have a feeling of self-consciousness because you're so absorbed in what you're doing. You don't even know what's happening in you, and you don't even know how much time has passed. You feel that you have a real control on the situation. You don't have any awareness of physical needs. You are totally focused. Next slide. So this Csikszentmihalyi wrote the book Flow, and he felt that he studied all the world literature. And the flow goes along with what Patanjali taught in the Yoga Sutras. So Csikszentmihalyi has 2 full pages of Patanjali Yoga Sutras in his book. He said that Patanjali designed the entire yoga philosophy to provide a flow experience. Every time you achieve the flow in your yoga practice, you gain experience and inherently improve your skill level. Next slide. So he said that all the different steps, Ashtang, 8 step. In the first step, he said that Yama requires that one achieve restraint from acts and thoughts that might harm others, falsehood, theft, lust, and avarice. Second step, Niyama, involves obedience or following the order routines of cleanliness, study, obedience to God, all of which help to channel our attention to the predictable patterns and make the attention easier to control. Next slide. Next 2 stages are asana and pranayama, because in the West, you are only doing asanas, but asana, according to Patanjali Yoga Sutras, is that asana help you to hold the postures for long period of time, so you can go ahead towards attaining the meditation. And pranayama is able to control our breath. Next slide. Breath control, which to relax our body and stabilize the rhythm of breathing. Fifth stage is the pratyahara, that we withdraw all of our senses and able to focus better. Next slide. Then we call it dharana, to pull all the sensation back and concentrate on one thing. The next step is the meditation or dhyana. Next slide. Samadhi, vanishing of the ego, self-realization, super consciousness, quiet state of blissful awareness, and being one with the divine. Next slide. And also in Patanjali Yoga Sutra 1.33, he talks about, especially called Maitri. In Pali, they call it Metta. Patanjali said that Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekshanam, Sukha, Dukha, Punya, Punya, Vishwanam, Bhavantas, Chitta Prasadam. By cultivating the attitude of friendliness towards the happy, compassion for the unhappy, delight in the virtuous, and disregard towards the wicked, the mind star retains its undisturbed calmness. Next slide. So this is Maitreya, but in the Western world, they take it from Buddhism. So exactly that shloka from Patanjali Yoga Sutra, in Buddhism is called Brahma Viharas. Brahma Vihara teaches us about loving kindness, compassion, and appreciation somebody else's success, and looking at things in a non-judgmental way. So this is a study done by Barbara Fredrickson. So she is the one of the world expert on studying happiness. So they find out that practicing 7 weeks of loving kindness meditation increase love, joy, contentment, gratitude, pride, hope, interest, amusement, and awe. These positive emotions then produce increase in wide range of personal resources. You are more mindful in your life. You have purpose in life, social support, decrease the illness symptoms, which in turn predicted the increased life satisfaction and reduced depressive symptoms. Next slide. So there are many courses in this country which became very popular on happiness. Tal Ben-Shahar was one of the most famous guy in Harvard, whose course was also attended by very large number of students who took the college happiness course. He went to emphasize that positive psychology is not about denying our negative emotions or other difficulty we experience in life or bad things going on in the world. It's about seeing life as it really is, downside and upside. Problem is that often the downside get our fullest attention while we let the upside slip by unnoticed. Next slide. He said that positive emotions don't make us blind to life's hardship. They are the fuel which enables to go out and do good in the world. Our reality is shaped by the language we use every day, and in particular, the question we ask. If our language is negative, it's no surprise that world seem negative also. Next slide. So what he talks about happiness is that appreciate. It has got several meanings, all of which are relevant to happiness. That means we should appreciate what we have. We appreciate what has happened to others. To recognize the full worth of something, to be grateful, to increase the value. Putting it together, it's a focus on what's right. So the simplest way to bring the three themes of paying attention, asking the right question, and appreciation is to focus on what went well today. Every day, how we live well. Next slide. Then you might have read in the New York Times a few years ago, 2018, Professor Laurie Santos' course became the most popular campus course in 370 years history. They talk about gratitude, happiness, meditation, and enjoy. So I have I think I have little, you can take away the screen sharing now. So I would feel that maybe anybody has any comments so that, you can share the experience, what I'm telling about taking away our own teaching and what the positive psychology in this country is trying to change to make people a better life and happier life.
Yeah, the first thing I'd like to say is this is one deck that everybody needs to have. I think there are so many good references on it. I couldn't note all of them. So definitely we'll share the deck with everybody so that we can, I was just trying to go on the website and take the test, Dr. Gandhi, when you mentioned it. And there are some really good resources there. Definitely we should take advantage of it. One question I had was, actually I had two questions. One was, we're talking about happiness and how to achieve and the way to approach it. A lot of countries now have talked about instead of GDP, actually talking about a happiness index for the people, especially in the Western world. I mean, I wouldn't say in the emerging economies now, but in the Western developed economies, to move to that. Have you seen, like in the US, is there any such?
US is not in a top list, Denmark is on the top list,
Right.
So they have this thought about how people are happier, that in every aspect of life, not just only wealth, because studies show that after you start earning, especially in this country, maybe $75,000 or more, where you can afford a house and you have a car and you have enough money to spend, increasing the money did not increase the happiness. So there's also a question come up that gratitude also is one of the important to make you happy. So one of the gratitude experts says that you have a question, are you happy? That's why you're grateful? Or are you grateful? That's why you're happy? What do you think is the answer?
I think it's the first, that you're happy because you're grateful and you're.
That's right. A lot of people think that somebody is grateful because he's happy. That's why he's grateful. But science find out that it's being grateful for everything in our life. That means you enjoy everything what you have, and you are grateful for, grateful that in this cold 10-degree temperature you have heat at home. Grateful that our, the electricity and all the electric grid didn't go down. You know that? And grateful that we have, in summer we have air conditioner, all those things. Grateful that we didn't have all the, difficulties they are facing in Midwest and the West Coast. So a lot of things we can be grateful for to make you happy. So there are many, a lot of new things have come, especially in the last 20 years. People have started thinking that money alone is not the cause of happiness. There was a very interesting study done in Harvard. They follow people for about 75 years. This is the longest study. They have two groups of people. One where all the freshmen, they started in 40s, started this. And so they followed these people. There are about 3 or 4 people who are in charge of this longevity study. They studied the people, people who are in the Harvard, and they study the homeless people in Boston. They follow the next 75 years. And they made a conclusion that how do you live happy and long life? So they have a conclusion that happy and long life happens when you have a good relation at home, at work, and in the community. So that's another type of study that they did. Longer study. If you go on the TED Talk, or if you go on the Google, you find all these studies, longevity study. So many of things is that when you conclude what the latest Seligman said, that you have 5 things you can important, where you have a positive attitude in your life, and how you are really engaged with what you're doing, how you have a meaningful life, how to have a good relation, with your bad friends, and how to achieve in life. So this is the most popular thing that now US government is following. I'm involved in teaching the law enforcement people about this concept also. So I've been taking part in the last 8-9 months, in a lot of law enforcement in New Jersey, police, prosecutors, they all are studying how to get a better life. So many different aspects.
Great, thanks, Dr. Gandhi. That was a really interesting perspectives. I have more questions, but I think I want to let others ask. I'm sure everybody has a lot of questions. So I just want to...
Namaste,
Dr. Ab. I had a question in Yoga Sutras and Sankhya Yoga. They realize that happiness, maybe along with happiness, some of the miseries are actually linked into it. It's like people, when they make a lot of money, at that point they're very happy, but misery comes along with it, in the sense that now the worry is to how do I actually retain this wealth, So I think there was one conclusion that they come to is instead of being sukh, reach a stage of contentment that is santosha, which is not really very, very happy, but not sad either. It's a stage of contentment. I'm wondering if the Western world has come to terms with something like this,
It's not much different than what they're talking about, hedonic and eudaimonic. Hedonic is when you just keep on working all your life and get more and more money and all those things. Eudaimonic is when you really look into your life, how not only yourself, but to do for others.
I see, okay.
Yeah, so it's a different way of describing it. Exactly what you said is they describe it a little differently in the West, that money alone doesn't give you happiness, riches alone doesn't give you happiness. So that's the thing. So I think I have a, very learned person in the corner, because I have listened to her so much. I'm waiting for her discussion. Please. Poonamji, go ahead.
Namaste, Dr. Saab. Thank you very much first. Please for humiliating me like this in public. I'm not a learned person. I'm just somebody with a lot of questions. Can you hear me?
Oh, sure, I can hear you.
That's good enough. हमारे सवाल बहुत होते हैं. Because every time I do something, I say, is this the right thing? Because it's not wrong. It does. So I don't know, because it depends. So my question to you is, you just explain something like hedonic and eudaimonic. So being a person with masters in 2 languages, sorry to brag, I ask the question, does it mean demonic is better than being hedonic?
Hedonic means that you're happy because you have everything in life. Okay, you have a good relation at home, you have money, you have house, everything you need in life, you have that. Okay, hedonic happiness, but it never ends. You have to keep on. It's like a treadmill. You're running on the treadmill. Treadmill is going, you're running all your life, but you don't have chance to really savor what you have really enjoy exactly. So eudaimonic is that you are really enjoyment you're getting from helping the world make a better place. So people are happy because they do that for themselves. But then happiness, like Emerson said that when you help somebody else, you get a lot of benefit by helping somebody else without expecting anything in return. It's exactly what, our Bhagavad Gita says about Nishkam Karma. So anything that you do because you have right thing to do and without really expecting anything in return. So that's why hedonic and eudaimonic, a lot of scientific studies show that how eudaimonic make you healthy and live longer. So there's a study showing that people who have very stressful life, they live about 10, 20 years less than other people. But out of all these stressful life people, there are few who, when somebody calls them that I'm having a real difficulty in life, this person goes and helps anybody who asks for help. And they find out that these people live as long as a other person will live. Their life doesn't get shorter, even when they are very stressful. So that means they're doing something more for others and making the world better is a much way of happiness. Like Seligman study, I was telling you, very simple thing about watching the movie, enjoying or watching ice cream or getting whatever you want to eat, different than when you really went and helped somebody who needed help. So I think it's this was not discussed in the Western world much, but it's always been discussed in our Eastern traditions. So
No, but,
I don't know whether to answer the question or not.
No. My question was not about what the study is showing. Okay, that must be fine. My question is the nomenclature. I thought being demonic was something evil, and eudaimonic was, with the words that we use. Wouldn't it be better to be euhedonic instead of eudaimonic? Since when did becoming demonic become or less demonic become good?
Yeah,
That's
some
what my
people are happy with hedonic. They never knew anything else. They are happy at home. They have good relation and they have all the riches and all. But but most of the studies show that hedonic, you never got satisfied in hedonic. You get one thing after another, and so maybe you want to give some of your thought on that, because maybe you have personal experience rather than book knowledge that I'm
Yeah,
studying.
because it actually, I had to give up my master's because I couldn't figure out the research, how to do it. It did not make any sense. It did not connect with reality for me. So because what I was experiencing, what as a personal experience, as people's experience, but what I was expected to write, put down, it didn't make sense. How am I connecting it? How it is just not the fact. So I just left it. But the thing is, again, each one has to decide what is making him happy. Just
Right.
because somebody tells us this makes you happy, no, it doesn't. I have heard of people who came with their travel experiences in America from India. They said, it is very surprising. We went there and there are people sitting, poor people sitting by the roadside in cities. गर्मी में बैठे हैं, आधे कपड़े पहन के, चारपाई बिछा के, and they're so happy. He said, yeah, that's really surprising. We used to go to villages for our botanical trips when I was in college. If we went to a family sitting outside saying we want some water, oh, they were so excited. They would give us lassi. It was the villages in Punjab. They had their bhatti lit up and they would roast some gehu and gur. And we never expected that, ever got that kind of welcome from in the cities or from the rich people. So that was an experience. I don't know if it is santushti. I really don't know, but it's very difficult for me to understand that we can define what makes you happy or what is happiness.
No,
So
you're right, everything cannot be described, but
it
I'm
not
just
be-
giving
even studies will not prove
right.
anything.
Thank you. Anybody else? I see it will be so nice if everybody shows up their face, it will be much more interesting to discuss because everybody has, covered themselves up. They can have a cup of tea while,
Yeah. Or maybe be on the treadmill and still show your face.
That's right. Premji, you have anything,
Yeah,
Rani?
Dr. Gandhi, this was a very interesting, very informative topic and very nice. And I have also interest in, the happiness around us. So I just have just thinking few things that make you happy. Like first thing is like having faith in God, that whatever happens is His will, and accepting the situation. Because people who are poor and they are happy because they have accepted that, that they are poor and they are, what can they do about it? So that makes them, happy. And being positive in all situations, of course. Any negativity, makes you sicker, and then being positive is one. The other thing is I think I put health about the money, because people say money gives happiness, but I think it's the health should be number one. If your health is good, you will be happy and less stressful. Those are, and the peace of mind, that if you have peace in mind, you're happy.
No, I agree with what you're saying, These all are coming from many different ways, how people wrote the book and how they compare, No, what you're saying, makes sense. I agree with you.
But it was very interesting, very good.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I wanted that website, that or link for that test.
Yeah, Raniji, we'll share the. You can search authentic happiness. That's the first link that comes up on Google.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, but we'll share the deck as well so that everybody has it.
Okay.
And they
With Dr. Gandhi's permission.
Yeah, no problem. There's another, on the same website, you find they enlarge it and put 24 different things in life, that you have to go through. What your strength, what your weakness, all those things, It's a very interesting website. So I see Usha ji showing up.
No, I think that happiness is what exactly, accept what you have. And that's what I feel, that, be satisfied what you have right now and thank God for what you have. That's what I feel is what, not to want more, just be satisfied what God has given you. That's what I feel.
Thank you.
And health is definitely a first important thing.
Right.
Dr. Gandhi, very, very nice talk. Something, many points to take home too. As you said, we have to be grateful for even little things. And in the lighter sense, a situation comes to my mind where several years ago we had family Thanksgiving. As usual, the whole family gets together, and we are a lot of us. And for one reason or the other, while we were traveling, our tire got punctured and we couldn't go. So we had to wait till AAA came and they took care of us. And we went, of course, to our destination. And there the family was waiting. And we gathered around to give our thanks. And everybody said, thank you for this, thank you for that, thank you for whatever. And then it came the turn of my daughter. And she was not very old, she was still young. And she said, oh, I am really thankful for AAA. And everybody just burst into laughter that these are the little things that we have to be grateful to God, which make a difference. Had it not been for AAA, we could have never reached that place. So that point is very well remembered and taken, that we have to be grateful for everything, big or small.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of studies show that, if you write down 3 things every day, what you're grateful for, you will be happier, and you improve relation with others will improve. There are many studies show that if you write, suppose if you write to somebody what you're grateful for, read a letter to that person. That happiness is, so much happiness that the other person get, and you yourself get also. So there are a lot of studies. If you want to look at gratefulness, is a new thing that teaching in every place now. There are a lot of benefits for being grateful for what we have rather than what we want to have. If you're happy with what you have and you're grateful for everything, you're much happier than the person who wants more and more. I think somebody else was going to talk. Abhishek?
Yeah, I was just going to add to Dr. Abhi's point that if everybody anybody or any one of us is picked up and put like 300 years back, when we did not have all these facilities and the things that we have now, even the most poorest of poor, what they have, if they are put back 300 years back, none of us will be able to survive. So a lot of reasons for us to be thankful for all the small things that technology or life in general has given us now. We should be really thankful for it. I mean, if you really think about it, we are living in the most peaceful times in the history of the world. That itself is such a to be thankful about, because if you look at historically, wars and everything has caused so much misery. It's just that we never realize it, how fortunate we are. So just in general, there are so many things obvious that we take for obvious to be thankful. So I just want to make that point, adding to what Dr. Abhi was saying, that there are so many such things, definitely.
I think Adya, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thankful to you also bringing this interesting topic. This is really interesting, and I think one of my thought is in going through the life, every part of the life in age, you have to be thankful, because it gives a sad and good thing in both. But I think once you go with this journey, I think it's also, you just enjoy your part of the life. Like I remember जब हम लोग बच्चे थे, सब भाई बहन एक साथ खेलते थे, छोटी छोटी चीजें अभी भी याद है, and I really enjoy that part. और फिर जब कॉलेज में आए, फ्रेंड सर्कल हुआ, उनके साथ लाइफ को एंजॉय किया. तो I think this is a really interesting topic, and the website you give, I'm going to check. that is really, really going to make a big sense for us to go through with that website. Thank you, Dr. Gandhi.
Thank you for your comments. Manoj, you wanted to make something, then he disappeared. Manoj?
Yeah. Sorry, I can't show my face. I'm sitting on the bed and I'm not properly dressed. Uh, but yeah, Gandhiji, I remember Gandhi, Mohandas, Karamchand Gandhi's words that for him every day was a Diwali day because his life was one of service. He was always thinking of others. So he was 100% doing what you were saying today. So his state of mind was that of intense joy, peace. That's why he could say that for him every day is a Diwali. And another point I want to add is that when Lord Krishna says that we should always set aside 10 to 15% of our salaries for for the poor or community. He says that this is to purify our mind. But I think that matches with what you're saying that once we do that, we are contributing to the welfare and it will make us more happier. So these 2 points I wanted to say.
Thank you, Ji. Satish Ji, you're hiding you're hiding your face. Mehta Ji? Any comments you have? Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate all your participation.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. for
Namaste, Ji.
for
Namaste.
Thank you.
making this presentation on a very short notice. We really apologize for the last minute request, but we're really thankful for this wonderful presentation.
Very,
Thank
very informative. Yes.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity again. Namaste to everybody.
Namaste. Abhishek, just 2 quick announcements if I can. One is we have this HSS Surya Namaskar challenge going on. So please contact Aradhana Tiwari ji if you would like to participate. It is really good. It is one step towards happiness, I can definitely say, exercising. The second is,
Of course.
we have our first inaugural VSS book club meeting tomorrow. And we also have the book that we are reading is Desi Land. We also have the author of the book, Dr. Shalini Shankar, joining us. So I would like to encourage all parents to please check the email from Arya Samaj and join that session tomorrow at 5 p.m. And if you have any questions on that, please let Abhishek Vishnuji know or myself. But please try to join. Gandhi ji, आप भी आइए कल. मैं आपको link भेजती हूँ.
I think I have that time clash है ना हमारे समाज का हो रहा
समाज
है.
है. हाँ जी.
Yeah, that's right.
ठीक है.
Dr. Can you say a few words about the property that your Samaj bought?
We are buying a property which used to be a synagogue. So it's a 2-level property in Park Ridge. Park Ridge the address is 32 Park Avenue in Park Ridge. And so this is a, place that which really suit us. It can accommodate about upstairs, we can accommodate about 150 people and a kitchen there. Downstairs, there are classroom, about 6 or 7 classrooms.
Very nice.
We just had a contract, so we'll be closing in about 3 months.
So how big is the property, Gandhi sir? For parking and everything?
Yeah, we have about 50 to 60 parking spaces.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah, it's a location, good location. We are opposite the police station.
I see. Okay.
So, you all are going to be invited, to see, at least see the place. It's only, I was telling Jatindra ji, it's only about maybe 13 minutes or about less than 15 minutes from the Tappanzee Bridge. It just touched the Rockland County. So not too far from you all.
Oh,
Okay.
very nice. Very nice.
So Gandhi, is it the RS Samaj or something you're building?
Yeah.
What?
What is this building about?
No, we are buying a building. You know, we have been actually involved in the Arya Samaj. When I was in Westchester for the, 41 years ago, we started the, Arya Samaj of suburban New York. And then we started the Arya Samaj in Bergen County. We started 39 years ago. This is our 40th year. So we just buying a building, our own building. We have been renting out all these 39 years. So hopefully we will get into the building in the next 3, 4, or 5 months.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We are very happy.
Thank you, Ji. We'll need a lot of help also. Maybe we'll send you, ask for donation also. We are, we have already, it's a little more than $2 million. We have already raised about 2 million. We are short to about maybe 200,000-300,000 to do some little renovations. So we will be, asking help from everybody. And
Sure.
thank you that you asked this question. So, and it's not far from you. So, since we'll have 7 days a week, sometime if you want to do some of the functions there, we will be available, because when you have 7 days a week, you need to occupy possible every day. So, again, thanks for asking.
Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste.